Okay, some of you have been here before, some of you are new. Welcome. It's fun to meet new friends. It's fun to get new people on here. That's such a good thing. Okay. No worries. Okay, Lindsay, you are driving. Just looking to see, do I have any mamas who are familiar with it enough with our Fridays who are willing to be my little co-host? Ida, are you in a place you can do that? Where are you? I'm trying to help you unmute. Maybe. I know, you never know, huh?
I'm not, what do you want me to do?
Okay, I'm gonna make you and Lindsay's on her way home. I'm gonna make the two of you co-hosts. You're just going to help me let mamas in as they come into the waiting room.
Okay, I can do that. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay, fabulous. All right, sorry about that. Welcome. It's really good to have you in here this morning. I'm gonna look and see what you've said on the chat. So yes, I'm finishing up breakfast. I like that. And Leah said we're trying to do a little bit each day to ease into it. There you go, Cadence. You see Cadence wiping her mouth with her arms. You're funny. Trying to do a little bit each day to ease back into the routine of homeschooling. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Mary, thank you. I'm slow. Okay. The older kids are doing some school while the younger ones play games. Connie says she's starting on Monday. Mercedes said we never stopped. Look at that. There's so many different things going on. I love that. Okay. And how are you feeling about the Bellam at Home? I'm hoping you've taken advantage of the Q&As. We're trying to put those in there at least once every week, and we try to alternate the times. Oh, Lindsay, hi. Alternate the times so that every mom has a chance to pop on and ask her questions. So far, we really haven't had a bunch of questions in the network. So I'm hoping that that means that we're doing okay with providing answers. We try to, as we have questions that come up multiple times, we try to put those answers into the tutorials and resources section. So be sure to check there if you have questions. Okay. Oh, that's exciting, Leah. So excited to start Bellam. We're new to Well-Educated Heart and homeschooling. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that's a big change. It's a good thing you're here. Lots of other mamas who can help you know that it's going to be just fine. And Bambi, of course, I knew that you loved it. Love what's going on. I love that. Okay. So let me just tell you very quickly what happens here. Usually we take about 20 minutes to just do this thing that we do, and then we actually get into the meat of what happens. And I've been thinking it would be lovely if we could shorten that 20 minutes of just me blabbering and get to the ladies actually connecting and talking. So we're going to work on that. We're going to see, because we're really supposed to meet for 45 minutes and then be done, just so that we're not taking up too much of your time. So let's see if we can get into it. And what do I mean by get into it? What kinds of things happen here? I have invited some of the moms that have been coming to Friday discussions that we have been having for the past 3.5 years. I've invited some of them to come onto this discussion. They're in the Bellam at Home community, or part of that. They have that heart. And they have an idea of what can happen when women get together virtually, which is such an odd thing. So I'm going to ask a few of them if they'll hop on. I won't ask by name at first. I'll give them that freedom of choice, and then after that, I'll just say you have to talk, you have to share. But if you women who have been on with me for a long time can share the kinds of things that can happen virtually with women that you have never ever met before, I would be very grateful. Just so these other mothers have a chance to understand what they can do here, what they can share, what it might be like for them. Also, before we do that, I'm going to encourage you to come off camera if you, that's not the right thing, to come on camera, is that right? But if you can, because it's so lovely to see your faces. That's just so nice to start making these connections. I love that. But if you can't, we understand. They're babies and kids and stuff, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But if you can, please do. All right. Okay, mamas, you know who you are. It's your time. Okay.
I can jump on.
Thanks.
I guess you just want us to share it, like, hold on, people are coming in. Okay. You just want us to share what kind of what can happen, right? Like what's it like in an online group? Well, I sort of stumbled onto this group Lori started. I don't know how long they were going, but and I feel like that was inspired, like divine. I was led there, you know, to these lovely ladies, and I had been praying for some guidance and direction for our homeschooling group, our homeschool, because I've been homeschooling for many years, but I felt like we needed to do something different. And so Lori was like, go and watch Kent Division. And so I was like, okay. And so I did, and I started watching it, and I was like, it was so good. It was what I was praying for, and loved it. And then I came back the next week, and I was like, I want to know everything. And then like the process of changing, like, and figuring out how to implement those things in our family life, and it's hard to make changes, you know, and to let go of things that aren't important and to focus, you know, refocus, right? And so all of these women at the time, there was, I don't remember who was in the group at that time, but that, I don't know, like we had new people and whatnot, but and I still am in touch with many of the ladies that were on the group, I think originally, and aren't on as often. But anyway, they were such an amazing support to me in our family, and just helped me, warmed my heart, gave me that encouragement. And like, I love listening to Lori talk about her experiences, because she is a grandma and she's been through all the homeschooling journey, and being able to listen to her and hear her experiences, her encouragement is so wonderful. But also just all the other women. In the process of this time, we adopted 3 girls, sisters from Bulgaria, and that has been quite a transition for our family. So now we have 9, and just like around our family with like so much love. And like they had like a virtual baby shower for us, and have just been such a great support. And I feel like I've only met like one of the sweet ladies in our group in person, and but I feel like each one of them are such dear friends, and I love coming to this group because I'm always like uplifted and strengthened, and then I feel their love, and just it's just so wonderful. And I don't know like how that happens in a virtual group like this, but it's amazing what it can be. And so it's truly a blessing for me.
Thanks, Ida. We love you. Okay, who else? Anybody else want to share just kind of what your experience? Yeah, Mercedes, thank you.
I also kind of just stumbled. I don't even remember how it happened on this group. And I started getting all emotional while Ida was talking. I have had some of the most difficult experiences of my life while being a part of this group, and I haven't always been super consistent, but I have expressed things before and then had members of this group reach out personally to me, you know, aside from here, and reach out to me and encourage me and give advice and ask how I'm doing and things like that. And I appreciate that because I don't have this right where I live. There's a lot of, I live in Layton, Utah, and there's a lot of groups in like Southern Davis County. They get together a lot, and with my super busy life, it's hard to even drive the 20 minutes sometimes, and maybe that's just an excuse, but I have found this group to be just so wonderful to meet together, to be able to talk with other women who are doing similar things, who are trying their best to love their children and nurture their children. And I have found great strength amongst all of you. And it's like super, a little bit intimidating to have all these new women joining, especially because I am not currently part of Bella I'm at Home. My budget does not allow it this year. Hopefully next year. But I'm just trying really, really hard, and I'm seeing a lot of the really difficult things in my life are ongoing. And they have to do with some of my older children. And so right now I'm kind of just, a lot of what's happening with them is completely out of my control. And but I have my tiny ones. I have an almost 5 and an almost 3. And I'm trying so hard with them. And this group gives me hope that it's going to work, that I'll be able to, like, you know, raise them maybe a little bit differently than my older ones were raised. I didn't know anything about any of this at that point. And just trying to kind of like circle the wagons around what I'm able to in my family right now. And I get so much of that strength and ideas and book recommendations and support and love from all of the women that are here on this group. And so thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Mercedes. Appreciate that. Okay, anybody else? Hold on,
Hi.
somebody. Yeah, Brenda, hello.
I am totally new to this group, but I've done a few things with online groups. And if we're just like testifying about the power of online groups, I do, you know, there have been a number of things that I finished my bachelor's degree. It's probably been 12 years now. And that was like almost pre-Facebook, right? So it was a different online experience. But I remember just feeling like, you know, having the connection to the people in my class and different things like that. And then when Facebook came, and then we have groups and we have, you know, different things that I've participated in or that I've created and done. And yeah, I just think that the truth is that we're looking for women of the same heart. And sometimes it's hard to find in your neighborhood. And so it's really, really beautiful to be able to find a group that, you know, wants to really honor and value the position of motherhood and womanhood. And also I've just am going through, like, I'm brand new. Okay. My daughter is the one who told me you have to check this out. And all my children are grown. I have my 4th and 5th grandchildren are on the way. And we didn't homeschool. I started out as a homeschool, but then I went through a divorce, and then I went through a remarriage. And my new husband was not into homeschooling at all. And I was really overwhelmed with my 4 and his 4. And I didn't also want to do that. But I was talking to him the other night, and I said, you know, if Bella I'm at Home had been available when we got married, I would have homeschooled, because I wouldn't have been afraid. That's really the thing, is I wouldn't have been afraid. And to have the community, that was the other thing that I was most excited about when I jumped on, was that there are actually people in my town. I live in Bluffdale, Utah, and there are people in my town who are part of this, and maybe they're on, I don't know, but but there's also, you know, people from all around. And I don't know, I just feel like this is really the time for women and mothers to pull together and to just really believe in each other. And it really does get better. And I also have children who have gone through and are going through some really, really challenging things. And I will tell you that as hard as being a mom of little kids was, being a mom of 20 somethings is really rough. But it's also really good. And it's good to have connection to people who are going through similar things and share your vision of the power and the beauty of women and what we have to offer and what we have always had to offer, but we didn't know, we didn't realize.
I love that. Brenda, thank you. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. I appreciate that. Yeah, so there are lots and lots of opportunities for you here to be able to just listen and collect things that are significant to you, that help to support you, but also to be able to share. So what we try to do is be sensitive to what's on your heart. And if there's something you feel to share, be sensitive to that and go ahead and do it. So many times, well, what has happened before is we meet for 45 minutes, maybe even up to an hour. And at about that point, women who have been holding back begin to share because they begin to realize, oh, what I thought was significant and it is important and I can share here. It's a safe place. And that's okay. And we can do that and we can stay on and keep talking. But I want you to know from the very beginning that if you have a thought on your heart and you start talking yourself out of sharing, that you don't need to do that. If you have that thought on your heart, it's significant and it's fine and good to share those things. So don't be afraid. So we wait to see if there's a mama that just says, oh, I found this thing this week, or I read this thing, or I had this experience. Or sometimes the thing is not a heartwarming, beautiful, wonderful thing. Sometimes it's a hard thing. Sometimes it's a sad thing, but this is a place where you can share that. So Melanie, thank you.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to add some of my thoughts about this experience and having this group. For all of my motherhood years, you know, my oldest is almost 16, I've really struggled to find my people that I feel comfortable sharing my heart with. And I've also moved kind of an average of every 2 years or so. And so it's hard to find someone, you know, by the time I find a friend that I'm kind of comfortable starting to share something with, I move. And I found Well Educated Heart while I was packing and moving to where I am now a couple of years ago. And the place I had lived before, I was actually there for 5 years and I had made a couple of friends, but even still, I never felt like I could share my whole heart. I always had to like hold things back. And, you know, you hear things as a mother, you see memes, like quotes or whatever about how great us mothers are doing. And I kind of always felt like it was about other people. You know, they don't know me, they don't know my struggles and how stuck I felt. And like it doesn't apply to me, you know. And having this group, just a place to share with like-minded people, like-hearted people, I've felt free to share my struggles and be accepted, and that's a really powerful thing. And I have felt so strengthened and uplifted and empowered, and feel like I have greater confidence in my position as a mom myself. Not everybody else is as amazing as they are as mothers, but me too. And so I just want to kind of add that too, that, you know, as we have a lot of newer people joining the group, gathering together, it's okay to share what's really in your heart, and it really is a safe place. And this is the place to go to be buoyed up and strengthened by people that are like-hearted.
Thank you, Melanie. You're so sweet. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, mamas, are you starting to feel like, even though these are mostly strangers on the screen, that maybe, maybe it would be okay to share I know it's such an odd thing. And I say this every time, and I'll say it again. I never would have believed that you could make real, genuine connections with people virtually if I hadn't experienced it. And it's pretty much something that Heavenly Father directed me to. And it's been such a huge blessing. Cadence, we'd love to hear from you.
I just wanted to share a little bit about finding this group as well. When I first got on, I was so overwhelmed by just the goodness that I found and the kind of souls that were in this group. And of course, Lori leading the way has been just a wonderful mentor. And no, Lori, I have to, because you're so amazing. You've changed my life. I had 3 littles when I found this group, and I was just drowning and falling apart by Friday. And I needed this. I needed it because it just strengthened me. And for some reason, this group was just so different. And so I would get on the group and I would see these women, Lindsay Watkins and Lindsay Bunting, and sorry, I'm trying to find the, oh, where'd you go? Anyway, but just these women who I just looked up to so much, and I admired them. I thought they were so amazing, and they'd share their struggles and their other things, and I still had such this high opinion of them, and then I became one of the group, one of you, and felt just so accepted and loved and appreciated. And you guys were excited when I got on the meetings. Like, it's just been so wonderful, and just completely different than anything else I've experienced in terms of women's groups. So yes, this has been my lifeline, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, Emily, hi. I was answering a question in the chat. Sorry. It's the whole thing of trying to figure out how to unmute yourself when you're on a phone.
Oh my goodness, my fingers were fumbling all over the place. Okay. I will add my, I don't know, experience that these connections are just as genuine.
And we love babies, so that's all okay.
Sorry. Just as genuine and real as any we can find in person. I hadn't met Lori and Lindsay. I think we had been talking virtually for a couple of years, maybe just one. But I knew them. And when we finally met in person, the only thing that took me by surprise was they had feet.
Did you hear what she said? I thought that was so funny when we first met. She's like, you guys have feet. You have feet.
But everything else, like hearts are shared here and they're not hidden. They're open and they're warm and they're accepting and they're vulnerable. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I love the phrase that I heard one of you ladies share earlier, the like-hearted aspect of these groups. We hear like-minded a lot. I like like-hearted. And I'm doing a lot of the Catch the Vision stuff, and today did pattern of learning. And Marlene shares, it's a lot of focus right now is on mind, but we have to remember there's heart, but there's also spirit. And the aspect of spirit is that we learn spiritually. I don't know, how can I phrase this? Spiritual education is purposeful. And I think that's an aspect of this too, is that we gather together because we have one purpose. We are united in a purpose. And I think that's one of the strengths of this group, is that not only are our hearts and our minds on the same path, but we all have the same purpose too. Striving to love and to lighten and to beautify ourselves and our families and this world. That's one of the things that I find in these groups. Lori, you're muted.
I just noticed. I'm so sorry. That's such a beautiful thing to share, Emily. And I love that idea of being united in that purpose. And I love what you said. To love, lighten, beautify ourselves and our families and those around us. Which is, if we can think about that, I know right now it's the first week of school, and some of you are probably saying, why isn't she talking about homeschooling? Why isn't she talking about what I need to be doing and how I organize it and how it's going to work and what I'm going to do? I'm never going to talk about that, just FYI. So if that's why you're here, stick around and you'll learn some other things to think about and focus on that are going to make your heart truly happy and allow you to breathe and allow you to not worry and stress so much about all of those other things. Not that they're not important, but they will fall into place in a way that you never, ever imagined would happen. And my dear friend is nodding her head, and she always has things to say, and she always thinks, oh, someone else will say that. And so it's now your turn, my dear.
Well, I very much would rather listen to all of you than talk. So I wait until Lori makes me talk. But yes, like Lori was saying, like that's something that I've learned on these Friday things, is that when our hearts are warmed and we know that we have friends to reach out to, and we have that, then everything else does just fall into place. Like we figure it out. And if we have a question, we can reach out to one another and figure out those little details later. But it's really the warming of our hearts that's the most important. And like Emily was saying, that's spiritual learning. So if we're striving to continue our spiritual progression, then everything else falls into place. And same thing with our families. If we're doing those things that matter most, then the rest of it just kind of either happens or it doesn't, because it didn't really matter. So I agree. And my experience here has been so special that I haven't wanted to get on and talk about it, because I probably can't do it without crying. Because I just have developed so many wonderful, true friends, and that are lifelong. And I already know that because we've been friends for a few years, and I know that for the rest of my life, I have these friends I can reach out to. And I even private chat every now and then. Some of them, like on here, it's fun to reach out and be like, hi, and have like a little conversation going with individual people. And as I drive around, and I've driven to meet some of you in person, and so I drive around, even if I can't stop, like I drove by Cadence's town recently, I was probably like an hour from it, and my heart was like full, because I was like, she's right there and I can't go hug her. I knew she was there. So anyway, I'm just so excited to continue to grow this group and to have you all, whether you've experienced this or not, just get to have that. And Brenda, who's already shared, there's something about sharing. As soon as somebody shares, I instantly feel this like, oh, she's one of us, she's my friend. So I'm just excited to get to know more and more of you, and to build more friendships and strengthen our hearts. And yeah, the homeschooling things and all that it'll fall into place later. And if you have questions, just reach out to somebody here, and all of that will figure itself out.
I love it. Were you going to say something else, Lindsay?
No. Did you hear my 12-year-old in the background? He's like, yep. I just love that they listen in on these conversations, and they're like, that's just how it happens.
That's so cute. I love that. Also, mamas, know that there are husbands out there who make sure their wives' schedule's free Friday morning so they can be on this call. So that tells you something good happens from women getting together with other women. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a supporting and wonderful thing. Oh, Andrea, you're back. It's nice to see you too. It's just so beautiful. We get to know each other's kids and that makes me super happy. I love seeing the kids on there because that's fun too. We start to get to know each other's families and making those real connections. There is something huge about knowing that you're not alone, because sometimes you feel that so strongly, especially when you don't have anyone close to you that understands these heart principles of learning, this pattern of learning, and just they maybe aren't doing those things. They're not, and they just don't understand where you are right now. That can feel lonely. So this is a place where you can make those other connections. Connie, hi. We'd love to have you share.
I need to remember to unmute. So I'm new to this group in Bella. I've known about the Well-Educated Heart for a few years, but I never felt like it was time to start. And so when Bellam came out, sorry. I thought I had my emotions in control.
It's okay, none of us do. It's all good.
But I was excited to finally get now's the time to join. So I'm grateful for it. I noticed I like to see patterns, and I noticed that recently that the last several times that I had started going into depression, it was other women talking to other women that helped me come out of it and feel joy. And I believe this is what this group is just talking and sharing and realizing that we're kind of all in the same boat together. We all struggle with things, and it's okay. Okay, I'm not sorry about my emotions, but that's what I wanted to share.
Oh, thank you. No, that's good. It's real, it's vulnerable, and like Lindsay said, as soon as a mama comes on and shares something, there's a connection that's made. It's really interesting. But now we know Connie too. So if you want to be known in this group, eventually you're going to have to say something. It's just how it works. But in the meantime, you are more than welcome to just sit back and listen and feel. It's mostly the feel that is so important. Melissa, hello. We would love to
Hi.
hear from you.
I think I found this group fall of 2020, I think. I saw the invitation and joined once or twice, and at that time I was not ready for this group. And
You're just too much for you, huh, Melissa?
it was a little too much. I was a little too spread out to be able to focus. And then we had an unexpected loss in February of 2021. And about a month or two after that, I don't think I'd been on the group in like 4 months. And just in my head, it was like, you've got to get on the group. You've got to get on the group. And I was like, why? Like that group wasn't for me. And I got on, and this group was just what I needed. I don't even remember what we talked about, but I was like, oh, this is right. This is what I need right now. And this group is real. It's not a superficial friendship. It's not a convenient friendship. It's real friend. And I got on the group, and back then there were, I don't know, 12 to 16 people in the group probably. And I live in the middle of nowhere. And since then, 2 friends have visited my town. I got to see the first steps of one of their children, and one helped me dehydrate apples when they visited. We sat and got to know each other over dehydrating apples that I had to get to. Another used to live in this town. I've been able to help with advice from my major with the help that mothers are needing. I've been able to meet friends at cultural events when I go into the city. They've shown up when they found out I was there, and we've gone to the same cultural events. I've surprised people at their houses when I was driving by. I happened to be a few blocks from houses and I was like, I'm coming to see you just to give you a hug and run. But just those tiny little connections. I found people that could help me through medical situations that were just felt so overwhelming. And I thought nobody would understand. And people in this group knew exactly what I needed. I've been able to remember and cry over the loss of children. And that's what this group is. This group is real. And it's amazing to me. I think I probably live at least 3 hours from the nearest person that's been on this group, that I've been able to make such wonderful, wonderful connections with these people from so far away, and some I've never met, and I hope I get to in person. But I feel closer to people I've never met 5 states away than sometimes my next door neighbors. And in some ways that's sad, but in some ways that's amazing. And so that is something I get from returning to this group regularly and participating in it. And that's what homeschool is. Homeschool is real life. It's not math and science and writing. It's learning to live our life.
Thank you, Melissa. And I loved all the chat activity during the time that Melissa was talking. So it's not like friends are going to just show up at your door because you come here on Fridays. Obviously, you have to do a little something, right, to get the connections back. But they're there for the taking if you want that, if you need that. And I'll tell you, my friends, we all need that. We might think that we're doing fine and it's gonna, we're good. We're good. I don't need that really. I don't need those kind of friends, and I'll be fine. Because you've done it by yourself for so long. We're around, it's like that, now I can't think of the phrase. What's the phrase? And it's a riddle, and it's something about, all the water around, but none to drink. What is that? Anyway, it's kind of like that. You're around all these women, but maybe there hasn't been those right connections. If anybody can remember that phrase, then tell me, just because it's going to bug me. Okay, tell me, is it Sienna?
Yeah, it's Sienna.
Sienna, hi there.
Okay, can you guys hear me all right? Let me see if I can get out of the sun. Thanks. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know I've had problems in the past with trying to speak during a Zoom meeting. Okay, I'm Sienna, and just trying to make sense of what this group is. I just sort of noticed it the other day on the Bellam app. But anyway, I typically like to, in the last few years, I've been doing what I call a Liahona festival, and so I make my Liahona for the year, and so this time, as I was writing down the things that I sort of my goals I don't want to focus on, I was writing the things I want to do, the classes I want to take with Bellam, and I know about the Mother's Corner, but I didn't really think it was something I needed. But anyway, I sort of got the impression to include that, and so that's when I was looking at the Mother's Corner thing and noticed that there's this meeting that meets on Friday, and so I just thought, well, maybe I'll get on, and here I am. But so one thing that I know that I am reserved and not I don't really share very readily, but I just recently was, thanks Gary, I was just recently in Nauvoo, and just got that sense of I just felt sort of a sadness that we live so isolated now, as where back in the day, like it took everyone to raise the children. It takes the village to raise the children, but there was just this community that everyone had to work together, because it wasn't easy to do anything. It wasn't easy to wash your clothes or to build your houses or anything, and so everyone needed each other get things done. I love Nauvoo. It was my first time. I just moved to Missouri from Utah a few years ago. And so it was the first time we went to Nauvoo, and it was so great. And we're going to register this year so we can be in a pageant next year. I've got 11 kids, and so they all want to join. So we're wanting to be in the pageant next year. But yeah, I didn't think I would really care about it, but I loved it anyway. So but anyway, that's just what I wanted to share today. We need each other.
Thank you. That is so true. And I love your examples. Okay, I did ask, I'm sure somebody's gonna do this, but for someone to share the article Marlene shares about the village. Does anybody know that story, that idea well enough that you feel like you could share that here? Because it is so beautiful and so applicable.
Lori, I don't know the article, but can I just share something real quick?
Absolutely, of course.
So I was just thinking about how much, like this group I joined in during COVID, and I probably wouldn't have joined an online group, but it was COVID, and I was like, I need some connection. And I was just thinking, like this, it has helped me to like understand the power of connection, but it's like, I feel this connection with all these women, but also I feel like it's helped me understand how to connect better and with the people that are around me. And so I feel like since that I've like deepened the relationships with the women and people that are in my immediate circle, and like I've just started sharing more and like seeing more, and like I don't know, like so I feel like, and then like the heartwarming things that I've learned from Well Educated Heart, like just sharing those all the time, because I'm like, this stuff is amazing, guys. Anyways, so I feel like there's something about just the idea of like sharing, and like Connie was saying, like that we all have our different things that we're carrying, and like when we're like saying, you know what, I'm carrying stuff too, and I understand, I see you carrying stuff, and I love you, and we can do this, you know. That's so powerful. And Sienna, we're moving to Missouri too, yay. Sorry.
Little mini celebration there. Okay, I love that you brought that up. I was hoping that was going to come up, Ida, that making these connections here and feeling the things that we feel somehow changes us in a way and helps us as we start opening up to people that are right around us. And while you still have to wait for them, you know, they've got agency and all that stuff, and they get to choose and decide, but you start being a much more powerful influence on those in your circle of influence. And so that is something that changes also. And what a blessing if we can slowly but surely build a group of women around us, physically around us, to be that support system as well. So look for that, be open for that, keep trying. Don't give up. When you share something and somebody doesn't respond immediately, don't give up. Don't. That's gonna happen most of the time during those initial invitations to other women to come and be where you are. Don't give up though. In the meantime, you have this, you have a place to come. Yes, Andrea.
I wanted to share that I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago I got on here, and the night before I was looking at the friendship circles, and I have a 6-year-old, and I was feeling a little hesitant and uncomfortable with the idea of him having online friendships and connecting with people online, because we already use screens a lot in our household for homeschool, which I've warmed up to. But when he was first born, there was a hard no screen rule. And so I've really come around to screens. But again, I was just worried that, you know, he would turn into this like little hermit crab who like never came out of his house and who only knew how to have friendships online. And I just didn't feel right about it. But then the next morning I came to this group, and I just like had this heartwarming amazing experience. And I realized, oh my gosh, I want my son to connect with other heart nurtured children. And if I can have this amazing, authentic experience connecting with women, I want him to have that same thing in these friendship circles. And so now I'm like all for it and I'm excited for it. And I think this is a huge blessing that we get to have these Zoom meetings and connect heart to heart, regardless of how far away we are from each other. And I love knowing that he's going to be with other kids who are safe, you know, because when he does make friends with kids in the neighborhood and we have problems at 6 years old, he's already running into not so great things that he's exposed to and bullying and feeling excluded. And anyway, so I'm just grateful that this group has warmed me up to friendship circles for my children.
I love that. Thank you. That's very sweet. And, you know, this has been such an important thing for Marlene, these friendship circles, this idea that the children and young adults need connection. They need to make friends, good friends who understand them, who can talk about the same kinds of things that they talk about, and all of those good things. Just, you know, just that disclaimer that as parents, we still have to be careful and aware, and you know, because negativity creeps in everywhere, even in the best places. And that's so sad. But so but it is a beautiful opportunity for people to come together and for our children to make connections with friends who can be real. And I don't know if any of you have teenagers, and if you've noticed, but there are a lot of teen clubs that are forming. Most of them are not open yet. They'll open in the next couple of weeks, but there are places for your tweens and teens to go and connect with others and for meaningful purposes. You know, there's a Shakespeare club, and there's an art of conversation club, and a Spanish club, and there's just a bunch of different things in there that'll be really fun for them. And then there's one that's just a teen chat, and it's just an opportunity for them to come onto a Zoom call and hang out and chat together. And actually, it just happens to be that my daughter Sarah hosts that, and she is so good at that. She is so good at connecting with teenagers, with young people, and helping them feel excited about being together and helping them start talking. And anyway, so if you have tweens and teens, consider that. That'll happen, I don't know, once a month, a couple times a month. It'll just depend on the interest. But so far, the interest has been high and the kids have enjoyed it. So just know about that. Go get into the Mighty Network, get into Bella Mom at Home. Look around, explore, see what you can find. Anyway, oh yeah, that's so sweet. I love these comments. That's so nice. Just noticing people. Oh yeah, some of you are sending your everyone comments to me. So just go back in and check and make sure you sent them to everyone. Okay. I love getting them, but I think everyone would benefit from getting them as well. I love that people are finding ways to find each other, and that's going to happen. Just be open to it. Okay. Other thoughts, other connections. We roll right up to the end of time. We're already not the end of time. It's the end of our time here. We've already hit the 45-minute mark, but if there are some things that some mamas would like to share, I would love to have you do that. There's usually somebody on here who still needs to share and just hasn't yet. Yeah, Mercedes, thanks.
Can I just leave you with a poem?
Yeah.
So I was reading My World Storybook, what is it, 11, right? Because I'm behind. And if you can be behind. But introduction written by Amy Steedman, who is the woman who wrote the books that all the stories in number 11 came from, and 12. She wrote the most beautiful introduction about foundations, and the reason she wrote these books about great lives as children. And she talks about all these, really beautiful things. And I think it's beautiful because I am laying foundations for my children. You know, children don't just kind of become things very often. Usually they're nurtured, they're grown, they're helped, they're guided, they're shown. And so she talks a lot about this in the introduction. And then I believe she wrote this poem because there isn't any other credit, but it says this: souls are built as temples are, sunken deep, unseen, unknown. Lies the sure foundation stone, then the courses framed to bear, lift the cloisters pillared fair. Last of all the airy spire, soaring heavenward higher and higher, nearest sun and nearest star. And as I read that, it just really hit again that we are in charge of this foundation for both ourselves and our children. Our foundation, we might need to go back and shore up and fix and repair. But for our children, we get the chance to kind of do this from go, and to make sure that that foundation is sure, that then the things that get built on top of it that are beautiful and good and wonderful can stay and last. And I just thought it was just a really touching introduction to a book that also, the book is also really touching, beautiful stories about these great lives. And the full book is on Internet Archive, because there's lots more that weren't included in these last two Marvel storybooks.
I love that you shared that, Mercedes. Thank you so much. What a beautiful poem. And you know, don't you get excited about the lives that your children are going to be able to lead because of the foundations that have been built for them? What an incredible blessing we have as mothers. Just so incredible. And we really do, if I can do one thing, if I can do it, I'm not doing anything, but if one thing can happen by you coming here, it would be to have you be able to let go, just to let go and follow the inspiration you're receiving, and know that that's not just enough. That's all of it. That's everything. That's how to do it. That's the way to do it right and not miss stuff. We take over and we think we understand and we know, and we've got our checklists, you know, and we're going to check all the boxes, and that's how it's going to be done right. And that's what we need, and that's what our families need. Not so, my friends, not so. We need to let go. We need to let go, and we need to ask him. We need to partner with God. Oh, Marie, look at your tender, sweet little baby. We need to let go and partner with him. Check in and say, okay, what do we need this week? What do I need? What do my children need? Go by name. What does this one need? What does that one need? And if it's just you, because your children are grown, like Brenda and me, then awesome. What do I need? What do I need? How can I, what can I do, improve, change, so that I can be a better influence to those around me, so that, God can work through me. So it's just so good, so simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. So simple, just harder to do it. So one last thing, hold on. Is she still here? Yes, Lindsay Watkins. Lindsay, can you share your little acronym that you shared with me a week or two ago? Do you know which one I mean?
Yeah, I'm not in the habit of sharing multiple acronyms in my life.
Okay. I figured it'd be pretty easy.
HARD stands for Humbling and Refining Days. And I've been holding on to that one because that one is hard, as what I've been going through a lot lately. We've moved, and this move, I don't know what it's supposed to teach us. It's not something I signed up to learn, but apparently it's something I'm going to be learning. We've experienced, all four of us, so my husband and I and both of my kids, have been hit with massive anxiety and depression in the last 6 months, to the point where my husband started seeing a therapist for it. And he kept saying, do you think we should get the kids someone to talk to? And I was like, well, what about me? And he's like, oh, you have your ladies. And I was like, what? And he's like, your Friday call. You always seem better after that. So just keep going to that and we'll see if it doesn't fix it. So I was so happy when this call started back up on a more routine basis because summers are hard to meet up. And so it's been funny because it has helped so much, and it has pushed me to look more into Well-Educated Heart and to just for me, just to fill my own heart and to know where true happiness lies and what is really nurturing, instead of just watching something to zone out or to escape. Because I was doing that a lot, but I have been turning more to Well-Educated Heart, and my heart has softened a lot, even just these last little while. And I've noticed my kids, the conversations have changed again to more heartwarming and fulfilling for them as well. So ladies, it's not just a homeschooling method. It's a life-saving method. We're not here just to survive. Connie, I told you, this is mine. We're not just here to survive. We are here to thrive, and we are here to grow and to learn and to find those who are like-hearted and who can uplift us, and to make us know that we are seen. I loved living in Tennessee. I loved it. But I didn't have a group there. And I joined this group, and I didn't realize that this was the piece missing in my life. I wasn't embodying everything. I was living in my physical world, but I was never connecting on a spiritual and emotional level until I met this group. And ladies, this group will drive to Tennessee from California to see you. They just will. And it's the best feeling ever to know you have those friendships that will drive across the country to see you, to hug you, to hang out with you, to come into your own crazy world and fully accept you for who you are and for how you're living, because we've connected already on such a bigger level that all the rest of it is just, it's just stuff. So I love this group. If you are new here, we love you. We are more than welcome to keep you here as much as we can. You won't regret it. I promise you that.
Thanks, Lindsay. And you know, seeing each other in person is like icing on the cake, because the genuine relationship is there, just virtually. I've not met most of these women in person, so just a couple. But they are my dear, dear friends. And like most of them have said, so much closer than many that I have right here in person. So if you need that in your life, ladies, you have it here. Just stick around. Just come back. Okay, anybody else feel like I've got something and I've got to share it? Also, ladies, if you need to go. Don't feel bad. We understand. It said 9 to 9:45, I think. I just know it's never going to be that, so it's all good. And if you don't have anything, it's totally fine. Okay, hold on. Did somebody unmute?
I did. I have a
Mary. Hi, Mary.
a few short thoughts to share. One was that I learned about the Well-Educated Heart from Lori on a homeschool conference that an online homeschool conference that I attended last October. And we and Lori and I talked just a couple of days ago, and just how much it's changed my heart. And because I have two sisters that have homeschooled all of their children, and they're one of my sisters only has one child that's younger than my two oldest, and so they're in a different phase. Their kids are older than mine, but like one of them, like I just felt like she said, well, read these books, and I read those books. I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, but having finding the well-educated heart, it really just resonated with me. I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to have. And Lori also talked about in that conference last October, talked about these calls that she has every Friday. And so she has she had a YouTube channel, which I think she still has, and it has some of the recordings from past ones. And so I didn't get on the live calls till January, but I watched, I think, a lot of them from the past that were on YouTube, and I just gained so much love for these women even before I started talking to them in person, and just their experiences, and just how inspired how inspired they were, and how it helped my heart to open up to receive more inspiration and love, from so many people, and to reach out. So I really enjoy these calls as well.
Thank you. Okay, I was going to type this in the chat, but I'm just going to say it so that nobody misunderstands. I am so not promoting me here. This is not at all about me. But I'll tell you, Mary, thank you for mentioning that. I don't know, you can find the little YouTube place where the recordings are, only because there are times when you're feeling down and you just need a little pick-me-up, and hearing other women talk and connect, there's something about that. I would have rolled my eyes at that before and thought, well, that's stupid. Who's going to spend time doing that? But there are women who are never able to make the Friday calls, the Friday Zooms. And it's like a lifeline, and it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the connections that are made when women gather together and share the things that are on their hearts. Like-hearted women, which I love that phrase, coming together and sharing. It's a beautiful and a needful thing. So if you can't always come on Friday, there will be that resource. I guess I'll just put it in the little comments below the event, I guess. And I will put the recordings up of these events. I realized the other day I hadn't done that, so I will do that for the past couple. I forgot, so I'll be better at that. But just know that this is a place where you can come and have your people. So I hope you come back. I hope it's been helpful. I hope you felt something that you need to feel, just to be able to keep going, to move forward, and to know that you, and also know that you are loved. This is also the place where you come and get a little virtual pat on the back. You're doing a great job. You really are. Of course, you're making mistakes. Of course, you do things that you didn't mean to do again. Of course, you have to repent every day. Of course, things aren't as perfect and beautiful and wonderful as you imagine and hope and think they should be, because that's not reality. But you're doing your best. Even that, I think sometimes we think, no, I'm not, because we know we're not. But we're striving, and with support and encouragement, we can do better, and we can be better, and we can feel better about what we're doing. So I hope you're feeling some of that. It's really good to be together. Thanks for coming. And if anybody needs to stay because they've got something they just need to share, you're welcome to do that. So, but thanks for being here. I love that. Yes, keep coming. We need you. And just as a closing thing, I'm going to ask Mercedes to read that poem again, if you would. I just think that was so lovely.
Sure. Let's see. Okay. Souls are built as temples are, sunken deep, unseen, unknown, lies the sure foundation stone. Then the courses framed to bear, lift the cloisters pillared fair. Last of all the airy spire, soaring heavenward higher and higher, nearest sun and nearest star. Amy Steedman.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Have a good week.
Thanks, Lori.
Bye.
Love ya.
I love you too, Emily. Emily's the one that shares all the beautiful Catch the Vision quotes and thoughts and pictures. And I am so grateful to you, Emily, for doing that. That is beyond what I can do right now, and you do it beautifully. So thank you. Ah, there we go. Making connections, ladies. This is how it starts. And don't be afraid to do that. If you saw a mama on here today and you thought, oh, I need to make a connection, go find her. Just go look up the profiles on Bellam at Home. And you'll find most of these. If not, look on Mothers of Influence. Some of you are not. If you're not, work through Catch the Vision so that you can join Mothers of Influence and make connections with these other mamas.
Thank you so much, Lori. You really do have a gift with words and affirming other people, and it's wonderful.
Oh, you're sweet, Cadence. It's so good to have you back.
I love that you comment on my Facebook posts, and I'm like, oh, Lori, she loves me.
I do. How does anyone not love you, Cadence? When you're not here, it's just different. When mamas that are here regularly aren't here, we feel the void. So yeah, so stop being a void, would you? I'm just kidding. It was just summer. Yeah. Oh, it's just so good. And Melissa, you shared such wonderful, beautiful things. And I love that, it's funny because Melissa, for the longest time, you were just kind of in the background. Every once in a while you'd pop on, but only off camera and stuff. And just this very quiet person in the background. And yet you were having and making all of these connections with all the other women all along that whole time. So I love that. I think that's awesome. And I love the comment you got about you just hanging out there in your hammock too. That looks pretty amazing.
My house is a little too loud right now. But yeah, I just magically just happened to have several people hang around my town, and that made it amazing to have physical connections. So person connections.
And I love that you got together and did apples. Who did that with you? Was that Linnell?
Linnell, she came out and we had apples that were of dire need of dehydrating. And I was like, yes, I want to see, but also this really needs to happen. Can we do that? And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. And so our kids played, and we all of our kids dehydrated apples.
I love it. Don't you wish for that, to have friends that you could do those kinds of things with? You get together and we help each other with our projects. I think that's a lovely thing.
Yes. So yeah, in her journeying, she had a friend from college, I think, out here and came to visit them, and we were able to see her for a few hours. So
see, I love that we have friends that want to come and play.
So I'd love to get around and see more people, but yeah.
I know Cadence is like, come, we need to have a retreat. We'll just have it at Cadence's house. We'll all camp in the backyard, front yard, wherever. Zephyr can make treats.
I have a big guest room.